Who is the current celebrity close to Michael Jackson's level of fame? As everyone is saying, the media landscape is too fragmented for there to be another Michael. For example, Swift is very famous right now, but you can very easily not have listened to any of her music or know much about her other than her existence. If you had a radio and were alive in the 80s, you will have heard a Michael Jackson song. The way we consume media now means that nobody is or likely ever will be as well known as MJ. MJ was on such a different scale of popularity to everyone else that it's literally incomparable. People might say Beyoncé or Lady Gaga, but none of them are even remotely close to downright surreal levels of fame Michael had reached in his lifetime. Living? No one. I'm from Kerala, and if you ask my mother, who has no idea about celebrities outside India, would in an instant recognize Michael Jackson. She doesn't know anyone present, no Taylor Swift, no Eminem, no Leonardo DiCaprio. She might have heard about Messi and Ronaldo because we live in a state where football is a craze. But yeah, no one can reach the fame of MJ. Edit. I have to add that MJ's popularity came at a time where there was no internet, lingo like trending and viral weren't there. A lot of countries were shielded from Western culture either because of the USSR or they simply could not afford Western things. India only opened up to foreign businesses only in the early 90s. Till then, you had to pay a high import tariff, which most Indians couldn't afford, or smuggling. Even if you could get your hands on cassettes or MJ, you still have to find a cassette player. And as I have mentioned in a comment below, we only had one state-run channel which rarely aired Western pop. And most of us couldn't afford to own a TV. So yeah, comparing how Taylor Swift got famous and how MJ got famous is not so fair. Because Taylor Swift has the internet to her advantage and MJ didn't, I don't think you can compare. In the 80s, 90s, celebrities were pumped into the living rooms of everyone. We all watched the same TV shows, listened to chart music. Now it's so fragmented. Taylor Swift is the obvious person to say as being the closest. But I don't think she comes close to the sheer omnipresence and level of fame that Michael Jackson did at his peak. Jacko was everywhere. And if you watched any television, you knew all about him. Now, it's very possible to be plugged into your own media and be only dimly aware of Taylor Swift. Before anyone mentions Taylor Swift, people should take note that MJ had grassroots level popularity. Like people who don't even speak English or know about pop music used to at least recognize his name and dance moves. People are saying Taylor Swift, but honestly it feels like nobody will ever realistically have the same level of fame he had. 1. Jesus. 2. Michael Jackson. 3. Santa. That's pretty much it. No current celebrity comes close. Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr might remember being bigger than Michael Jackson when they were in the Beatles, but that's about it. Michael Jackson hit the peak of his popularity when media was still homogenized, but had become truly global. The mixture of MTV and Michael Jackson was rocket fuel for each other and propelled both to highs that were not possible before and, in answer to this question, are not possible now. There is not one monolithic media platform that everyone is watching. TikTok is probably the closest thing to the impact that MTV had at that time, but it's not being broadcast on every TV in every home across the world, where entire families are exposed to the same media at the same time. It's only happening on your phone, and the person literally sitting right next to you can be watching TikTok on their own phone at the same time, and never see the video you are watching. There is no undisputed king-queen of TikTok, and even if there was, you would be missing multiple generations across the world of people who have never seen a TikTok, much less whichever person is most relevant there. Swifties out in full force on this one. There was a video of some random tribesman wearing face paint somewhere who knows Michael Jackson when they were shown a video of him. Wake me up when Tay gets to that level of fame. If you get out of your bubble, then the answer is no one. Wacko Jacko was famous worldwide without interwebs. Don't think people understand how insane that is. His music was played in non-English speaking countries. They knew a lot about him yet had no real way of getting info. It was all through fans. So basically word of mouth now transpire that into decades and he stays relevant. The old saying, you ask X in X country, is legitimately correct. My old ass grandma near death in a poverty-stricken 10th world conditions, doesn't speak English, knows who Michael Jackson is. My mother, practically the same minus the age, knows him. You go to a remote village somewhere in Africa and play his song, it's likely they'll know who it is without you being able to communicate. I genuinely believe no one will ever reach his level. If I had to make a list, then I'd put Queen Elizabeth near top, the one that died 2 years ago. She was around long enough and carried the name from prior generations to be higher than Swift. I don't know who's second or third etc., but Jackson is undisputed no one. I don't make the rules, I just state them. I read about how they did an interview with a previously uncontacted tribe, and even without interacting with society before, they knew 2 things about us. Those 2 things were, white man went to the moon and that's scary, singer named Michael Jackson dances and grabs his crotch and goes hee-hee. I just realized today SRK's red and blue Jawan look is taken from MG's. They don't really care about us. Look. Nobody. He was on a whole different level. He was already a superstar as a child, then managed to become even more popular worldwide as a solo artist. He set incredible records in a time when people had to go out to buy an album or a single. If he'd visit any country, he'd get chased by huge mobs of people everywhere. No one. Thanks to the internet, American monoculture has died, so there will never be enough US heat on artists like Michael ever again, so the rest of the world is free to find their own stars. The 2 MJs were peak global icons.